What's up, everybody? It's Carlos, your host of the Just Fans podcast. I'm joined here, of course, with my regular co-host who showed up today, Poppy. What's up, Poppy?
Man, shut up.
There
No, it's all good, bro. It's all good. It's been a busy ass week, but we're making it.
you go. That's all that matters. Good to see you, man. And of course, I got my other co-host, Rios, in the house. Let him know what's up, Rios.
How's it going, guys? I've had a good day trolling Mariners fans. It brings joy to the soul of my body.
There you go. There you go. And of course, today we're joined by none other than a guy we've been trying to get on for the longest. We're finally here. We finally got him. Thank you, sir. Tyler Milner, what's up from Sports Radio 610? How you doing, bud?
What is up, boys? I appreciate y'all. Glad we were able to make it happen, man. I've seen all the fun y'all have, especially with my guys Seth Payne and Cecil Shorts. So pumped. Appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, those were some good. Those were some good interviews, man. Seth Payne is very charismatic, and that's probably like an understatement of the year right there. He will talk to you about anything, and I'm sure you know.
Yeah, and he will talk for forever because I don't remember saying two words. The
Who
whole
played to combine three sentences together?
I was just listening. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, dude. Seth will talk to you about anything, and as long as you want, man. He's one of the best guys I've met since I got in the radio industry. Honestly, him and Cecil both really, but y'all did great stuff with those guys. Hopefully, we can replicate it a bit.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, Cecil was great. When we had him on, he's super nice. Like I always look at that's when we were like starting to get a little bit of like starting to get some more guests or whatnot. So we had Cecil, and I remember I was still working on Mike, like asking questions, or asking appropriate questions. And I to this day I always look back at it and I think to myself, I asked him the dumbest question I could have asked a wide receiver, and it was somewhere along the lines of, hey, do you think that a wide receiver that's taller than a smaller wide receiver, do they have a more of an advantage of catching the ball? Of course it does. Of course they do. And
we all got to start somewhere, bro.
Yeah, and I was like, of course. After I asked him that question, I was like, wow, of course he does. And then he was so nice to a point where he was like, oh yeah, I mean, definitely. And then he went on and explained it in the best way possible instead of calling me an idiot. No, really.
Dude, Cecil is the nicest dude ever. You could have asked something way worse, and he would have been like, "Well, you got a point there." No, Cecil's awesome. Him and his 15 kids.
Competing with Nick Cannon, I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, man. So, like I said, I'm glad to have you here, man. Let's do our thing. Let's talk about our boys, the Texans, first. I don't know about you, Tyler, but for the first time in like 3 to 4 years, I'm excited about the beginning of the Texans season.
It feels weird, right?
It feels weird. I was like, oh, so this is like what it feels like to
Almost good.
hold your head up in pride or something. It's been a minute.
No, it feels like more like the calm before the storm right now. Because I'm very hopeful, and the closer we get to the season, I'm thinking, oh, maybe we can actually surprise some people. But then it's like, but we're the Texans, so.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it can happen. The thing is, I finally, for the first time, and I don't know how you feel about this, for the first time in the last 3 to 4 years, I finally feel like we're taking the steps in the right direction. In the best that we can, at least. Obviously, it's not going to be something that's going to be fixed like now or anytime soon, but it's gradually steps in the right direction. What do you think? What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, dude, and you're hitting the nail on the head because it's like we want to believe, as Texans fans, I think we all are here, like we want to believe so badly that things are finally going to be moving in that right direction, and it does feel that way. But yeah, it's kind of like we're all just having our fingers crossed. Like, is it real? Like, wait, is Easterby really gone?
Yeah,
he's really not in the building anymore. Oh, okay. But no, it's a great feeling. It's a foreign feeling for a lot of us. If you've been a Texans fan really since 2002, whenever they came into the NFL, there hasn't been a lot of success, but it does finally feel for the first time, like you said, in at least 3 or 4 years, that things are going the right way, that decisions are being made for the betterment of a football team, not for a bunch of other bullshit reasons that don't make any sense. So it feels real, and now it's just about seeing it on the field. A lot of these rookies got to pan out, of course, y'all know that. But D'Amico's here. He has returned, Coach D'Amico, And that alone, like that seems to be a decision that in years past would not have been made. Like it was almost like during this head coach search for the Texans, I was like trying to convince myself they would somehow make the right decision. It's like, oh, they're not going to get D'Amico. It makes too much sense. The Texans wouldn't do something that makes too much sense. But here we are.
Let's go get Josh McCown. That's what I felt like for a minute.
Yeah, like any second, any second, the entrance music hits.
Dude,
that's got to be Josh McCown.
God, that would have been bad.
No, but it's one of those things where, like, as fans, and I'm just speaking for myself right now, more excited than the rookies coming in, more excited than any free agents. The thing I'm most excited about is to see this team under D'Amico. Like, to see how it plays.
Yeah, not David Culley, not Lovie Smith, like a fresh mind, like someone who has not been running Tampa 2 for 20 years. It's going to be a beautiful thing to see some new schemes and new ideas. And dude, honestly, all the whispers I've heard out of Texans camp, and I've been out at Texans camp hasn't started, but I've been out for their off-season workouts and stuff out there at their practice facility. And Bobby Slowick, I mean, I haven't met Bobby Slowick. I'm sure he got the job, and it was warranted that he get the job and come over from San Fran with D'Amico. But the players, other coaches, they are pumping this new OC up. Like Slowick is a just offensive genius, and I hope it's true. But Slowick's getting a lot of love.
That's good. That's good to hear. It feels like, like I said, going in the right direction. It should feel that way, because right now I'm more like curious, because I haven't really seen I don't know much about Slowick, I guess, in that 49ers offense. And I think some of us feel that same way right now. We don't know. It's like that sense of curiosity at the same time. So you want to know, you want to see how this offense is going to run, if it's going to be very similar to that Kyle Shanahan offense, almost similar to like Gary Kubiak, and which worked wonders for Arian Foster and whatever quarterback. It's very QB friendly. So Rios had one of the points that you made about it's not David Culley, it's not how do you call it, Lovie Smith. Rios, when we were still in the process of getting a coach, Rios had brought up some good points about like, if you don't mind telling Tyler Rios about like how these younger coaches, are I guess more relevant to these players in a way.
Yeah, well, so more or less, like not too long ago he was in the league. He's younger than some of these older guys, but he's not set in his ways. Like, he's going to be adaptable and fit his scheme to his players versus the other way around, try to fit a square in a circle peg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times, like kind of like with Stingley, right? Running the Tampa 2 was he wasn't being effective in that system, and Lovie never tried to adapt to the strengths of his players.
Yeah. So, we just saw the kid at LSU. We just saw Stingley at LSU like dominate in every situation virtually.
That's what we picked him so high. That's what we picked him so high. And then you
bring him in and put him in a Tampa 2 system.
Yeah, you just make him look average. And he had decent games, but he never like showed the potential, like Sauce Gardner over there killing it.
And they will forever be linked. You will always compare those two.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But hopefully with D'Amico, my guy can actually put up some numbers this year.
Yeah, I mean, look at college of every area, but the defense, especially the secondary. I mean, there's different faces. There's a whole new scheme. It's going to be interesting.
It looks very good. It looks very good on paper. Very promising. But again, it's the way it plays on the field.
Absolutely.
It's almost like PTSD that we have. It's like, I want to be hopeful, but I'm a little skittish.
Honestly,
did we win? Like,
is that a W, not an L? What?
Or a tie?
It's not a T.
Oh, man.
I mean, you just think about all, like, when you really take a step back, and we hate doing it because we all lived it and you don't want to live through it twice. But when you take a step back and you look at the last 4-ish years, you just rack up just the headlines alone that were put out regarding the Texans and things in the organization or on the field or off the field. I mean, good Lord, it was a long time of some really bad shit going on. And now it's like, oh, wait, something positive. Oh, you hired D'Amico. Okay. Oh, the offense, it's looking good. What? Like, okay. Oh, we drafted a quarterback and you moved up and you went and got Will Anderson Jr. Like, what is happening now? But It's good stuff.
Yeah, as soon as I knew that I had a feeling the organization was going in the right direction once the announcement came out that they had fired Jack Easterby. I was like, this is it. This is it. The light at the end of the tunnel for now, boys. Like this is it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. It was almost like an epiphany. You're like, what? What's going on?
It's like that scene from Lord of the Rings when they finally tossed the ring to the fire. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It's finally over. It's finally over.
Dude, I couldn't believe it myself.
The Miko's Gandalf, like at the top of the mountain with the armies coming down,
smiling at the Texans, like what he did with Frodo in the room. Goodness, sorry, we're nerds.
I thought
I love Lord of the Rings. You're talking my language,
right?
So I thought when Bill O'Brien was fired, I thought that was the move that was going to change the franchise around. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Obviously, Easterby was a cancer that was in the organization and like rooted more deeply than anybody thought. Anybody had an idea.
Mm-hmm.
So thankfully, with him gone, right? Like like Carlos said at the top of the show, man. Like it feels weird. It feels weird going into the season. Like I cannot wait for football season to start over. Like I cannot wait, man. Like looking on Twitter, people say like there's only two seasons of the year: football season and not football season. And that's exactly how I've been feeling all year, like all off season long. I couldn't even care less about free agents or any trades or anything. I just want a ball to be snapped.
Yeah, no, exactly. So speaking of all that, so right now, like Tyler, are there any how do you call it, any players that you're really, besides CJ and Will, like we already know those are your main ones, but are there any other players that you're kind of like either have high expectations for, or you're just kind of looking forward to see how much they can help the team out in this season?
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I know y'all, you most likely have a lot of Coug listeners out there, being in the great city of Houston, and this will make them happy because I'm pumped about Tank Dell, man. I mean, I know it's another rookie, and I'm trying my hardest not to let myself get too excited or have too high expectations, but just the little we've seen without pads of Tank Dell, I mean, he looks like he's shiftier and quicker with his cuts and quicker out of his setup than any receiver I saw for the Texans last year. And that includes ones that are still there, like Nico Collins. But that brings me to the overall receiver group. I am most interested in watching that position group for the Houston Texans between now and as the season gets started, because I really don't know what to expect in a sense. Like I hope that this offense can find production, and I hope there's weapons that are going to help CJ Stroud find a somewhat easier rookie year than maybe he would otherwise. But I'm kind of concerned about the receiver group of the Texans. That being said, I am very excited about Tank Dell. I think he could be really good, and especially in an offense like this, like you were talking about earlier, Carlos, with the Shanahan scheme. It's going to be a lot of speed, a lot of moving direction, a lot of just let's go. And Tank Dell looks like he is built for it in every sense of the way.
Yeah. I'm excited for Tank Dell also, and this is just not trying to be a homer, with the U of H thing, but you see like some of the things that are posted on Twitter, some of the posts where he's like training with Jalen Waddle, he's training with these other receivers, and like it makes you realize, hey, this guy is actually trying to work his butt off to try to be competitive in this league, to be one of the top receivers, make an impact or something, and so which is great because obviously that helps out our team tremendously. There is a question in the wide receiver core, like, hey, who's going to be the one steps up? Because for the longest, Nico Collins, like I this year I do have higher expectations for him because I'll give him the fact that, hey, look who you had throwing at you for the last couple of years, right? And so I think this year maybe Nico steps up. I hope so.
It's almost like nut cutting time, man. At this point, it feels like Nico's got to. I'm not saying he needs to go out and be a top 10 NFL receiver or anything, but at this point, you got to stay healthy if you're Nico Collins. And when you are healthy, you got to find some more production. I know he was just a 3rd or 5th round draft pick.
Yeah.
But come on, man. Show me a little more.
Do you think he's somebody who, if he, because the health concerns are up in the air, right? But if he can stay healthy for long enough and actually put up some good numbers, is he somebody who you would look to trade away to try to get something out of it, or are you sticking with him?
I mean, that's a tough that one's tough. I mean, a lot of it is riding on what he's about to do in 2023. But I can tell you this: I mean, like the Texans, when you do look at the overall receiver room right now in Houston, they lack significant like size. And in the NFL, I'm not saying you can't be a receiver that's small and speedy. We see it every year. You can do that, but you got to have at least, I think, a couple of big bodies in that receiver room, guys that can go up in there and snatch it away from whoever's there with them. But Nico, I mean, he's shown glimmers of that, some corner of the end zone touchdown grabs and stuff. But I need more, man. I need more
consistency for sure.
Yeah, and if he doesn't show more to what you said, Poppy, then I mean, I guess just try to get something back for him.
I mean,
that
what
would
would
be
even
my
be
main
though? What could he even get from it at this point?
Yeah,
Like a 6-rounder at best.
Yeah.
Like
anything,
just putting up numbers, like I don't know, man. You can. I mean, we still have a lot of holes in this team.
I mean, if he's putting up numbers, why trade him? Because you don't really have a true X receiver.
Because you already know that. I mean, it's a health concern. Like you
Mm.
could have a healthy 2023, and then next year misses like half the season. Like you never really know with them.
Yeah, at this, it's an inconsistency, I guess. That kind of
Exactly.
gets
And with CJ, like trying to coach this new quarterback into the franchise guy, you want to pair him up with players that are going to be playing consistently with him.
Yeah,
Right? Not just in the training, like or whatever. Like you want him to be there every single Sunday.
and I'll say to that, Poppy, the other receiver, not receiver, big body tight end, but Dalton Schultz. I'm telling you right now, I'm very excited about him.
I'm excited. I'm
Oh,
excited.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
finally somebody who can actually do something more offensively, like another weapon for CJ, right?
Yes, dude. And like I've always known Dalton Schultz was a big guy, like a big body tight end, watching him in Dallas and everything. But when I first saw him a month or so ago out at the Texans practice field, I was like, damn. Like I kind of like did a double take, like, holy, like he is a big dude and he can move fast.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like one of the things I'm more excited about is the offense, because I feel like last year, because Damian Pierce was our main source of yards for most of the games that we were actually competitive in, I feel like a lot of we became way too predictable, right? Teams were just stuffing the run completely.
Yeah.
Now with
30 long, Rick's kid.
exactly, it would be like run, get 3 yards, run, get 3 yards, and then throw it long and hope for the best. But I feel like with the new receiving core, there's question marks on there for sure. But with the receiving core and the new offensive scheme, I feel like Pierce can get more of a break. He doesn't have to break 20 tackles to get 10 yards anymore.
Got Motor in town now too.
Yeah, Singletary.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So I feel like both our passing game and our running game is going to be way more complex this time around, and that's what I'm excited to see. I want to see some like trick plays and whatnot. Like I don't want us to be predictable.
Yeah,
I wanted to be fun to watch because it was a lazy watching every Sunday. I'm like, do I really have to do this? Like, there's something better I can do with my life.
right.
How depressed do I want to get today? Let's watch this game. And
How bad don't I laugh?
no, and so I agree with you guys. It's I'm excited for the offense for sure. Like you said, Dalton Schultz is going to be a big help for the Texans, both in the blocking scheme and just a big body dude, man. I mean, if you really think about it, when's the last time we really had a good tight end besides Fedorowicz when he was when he was getting a little rhythm, and then he got concussed and he had to be out. But before that, it was like Owen Daniels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you really, when you look at the Texans' history since 2002, you really haven't had a good list in the tight end division, like in the tight end position. Excuse me. You don't. You just don't. And I mean, I can't even think of. I can name like maybe Shane Graham or that's about it. I can't think of it. Exactly. And so it's like and I just can't think of anybody. So I think Dalton Schultz is a great addition. I really like that pickup. And I think he's going to be helping out CJ both in the blocking and of course in catching the ball from him as well.
A huge red zone target.
Yeah, Singletary. I love that because you're giving Damian Pierce a break. I was so concerned about Damian Pierce last season. This dude, I get the baby beast mode thing. He was just breaking tackles, but how long can you go? and you know that the NFL isn't going to be like paying you all this money to renew your contract. It's the running back position is severely, I guess you want to call it, underpaid for the position. And so I'm thinking you're gonna use this guy up. By the time you set up a team,
Yeah,
this
legs
guy
are gonna be gone. Yeah,
is gonna be out. Yeah. So I'm glad that they got Singletary. You know,
absolutely. No, I'm with you because Pierce is still young enough in his career, right? Like
right.
He if they pace it now, like you can get a little more out of him. But yeah, dude, the guy's a workhorse, and he's shown he's willing to be. And every single time he touches the ball, Dameon Pierce is just going to look to run through people. I mean, he won the damn the scepter on NFL Network for like angriest run of the year. Like,
oh yeah,
like dude is just a wrecking ball, and it doesn't hold up. And I hate to say it, but like Carlos, like you were saying, running backs don't get paid. I'm with that philosophy. Unfortunately, like you cannot pay these running backs big money, especially whenever they're about to go into their 30s or
look at Dallas, right? With Ezekiel, like one of the worst contracts in the league. Like
I absolutely co-sign for the most part. Every situation's different, but I absolutely co-sign overall. Never signing a big contract to a running back, and really just try to keep finding them in the draft in those mid to later rounds.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what happened with Dallas. Like I did, it ended up being that like Zeke just got worn out. I mean, they used him.
Yeah, he still had like 3 years in his contract. Like,
and he was run to the ground by that point.
Yeah, like what do you do at that point?
But at that point, like I'm sure other owners, other organizations like see that and they're like, okay, we're not gonna do anything like that, and
yeah.
So, because eventually, after a while, like I just didn't want Dameon Pierce to turn into a David Johnson, have a good breakout year, and then just fall off the face of the earth.
Y'all keep saying these names I haven't thought about in months or years. It's like making me flash back for a second.
Hey, we got to get to that place till we can get to the promised land.
Exactly, that's what we're saying. Yeah. When we say that we're afraid as Texas fans, like we're uneasy about it, is because we've seen it before.
Yeah.
David Johnson, the beginning of the downfall.
Oh, that trade will haunt me forever.
Forever. So another, we were talking about the wide receiver core, and the last person I want to talk about. What are your expectations for John Mechie this season?
Man, I'm real interested, very interested to see. Because I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is his rookie year, right? He's never played NFL ball. I'm excited that he's healthy. Obviously, that's the best thing. Just as a human being, like great that he's healthy and cancer free. But I really have no idea what to expect. I hope it's good. If it's good to great, it's gonna that's gonna make Casario's draft class, not of 2023, but of 2022, look a lot better. Like Nick Casario is the biggest John Mechie fan, I think, right now. He's just in his corner, like, come on, dude, come on. They're talking about Kenyon Green, man. They're talking about Kenyon Green. I need you to perform. Like, so that'll be fun to watch. But I'm really not sure what to expect from old Mitch.
I don't even think Kenyon Green was that bad, man. I feel like people,
dude, some of them,
but remember, he was a young kid playing a man's game, right? Like
they stole that man's lunch. Let's figure it.
Definitely. But my expectations for him, at least, weren't like, through the roof.
Yeah,
it was going to take some time to adapt.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, what was weird with Kenyon, was early on in the season, the first reps he would get, I remember watching him thinking like, all right, like he didn't look too bad. And I think the level of competition was lower, if I remember right, on the schedule, but it was kind of like, okay, there might be something here. And then as the season progressed, I saw Kenyon Green get run the hell over like every time I looked up, and I'm like, good God, man, this is bad. But hopefully I'm rooting for him. Hopefully Kenyon Green gets it turned around and he worked his ass off in the offseason and he can get out there and not look like a rag doll.
Same, I've seen. I know exactly what you mean. I was like, he was getting just beat up, run through, and everything. I was like, what happened? You were like high up in the, high up in the ranks or whatnot. But there was a lot of people. Yeah, there was a lot of people that had I guess, a higher expectation. I guess because he was one of those guys that would face off against those SEC linemen or whatnot, and so.
That's what I was about to say, dude. I watched every snap Kenyon Green played in college. Like I watched every snap, and I was excited he was a Texan. But man, that back half of his past Texan season was.
Just look at that Eagles game. They threw him into Davis Mills.
Yes, I remember exactly the play you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
bro, what are you doing? You're supposed to
Yeah.
get this man upright, not knock him on his ass. What are you doing, bro?
Yeah. That's the opposite of what you're supposed to do, Kenyon. Yeah. And so I guess the expectations were higher for him at this season, but you also got to understand, it's his rookie year, so I'm hoping that, like you said,
year
hey,
2, I feel like it's gonna be a lot better.
yeah,
Mhm.
it's I'm hoping that this year's better, because if not, well, we got a long way to go. It's gonna be a battle.
Like he's just one of those type of players who all he needs to do is like just get in the gym, get a little bit bigger, try to compete with all of these like huge ass linemen. And I feel like with a coach like D'Amico, who players actually respect. I don't know if I can say the same about Lovie Smith, especially after last year. But I feel like if D'Amico can get into these players' heads and actually make them do the work and get the best out of them, and that's why I think John Mechie is going to be a surprise this year. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people.
I love
D'Amico's like, Kenyon, you better do good this year. You're wearing my number, so you better live up to expectations, sir.
Forget about that. Yeah, that's good.
The first second he gets up, he's like,
yeah. Let me take my number back, fool.
Yeah, take my number. Let me show you how it's done.
Yourself to 9.
Yeah.
You don't deserve this number.
Yeah. No, man. That's what I'm looking forward to. Okay, so what I want to show you right now is it's probably like the worst version of the away games and the home games. I wanted us to predict what our what this team record for next season, for this upcoming season, will be, just by looking at some of the teams that they're
17-0, baby. 17-0.
Boy, I'm telling you, that is okay. Give me 1 second. Nope, that's not it.
Because last year my prediction was reversed. 0-17. The perfect season.
0-17, yeah. Okay, so let's look at the home game first, okay? Right here on the left. So we got Pittsburgh, the Saints, the Browns, Tampa Bay, Broncos, Cardinals, Titans, Jaguars, and the Colts. So let's start off. I guess let's start off with Poppy. Poppy, what do you think? Which teams do you see us getting a win over in that?
Maybe this might be the first time I'm really looking at it. Maybe I'm being a little too optimistic, but there's a bunch of winnable games here. There's a bunch of winnable, some competitive ones. We're definitely beating the Broncos. There's no excuse for us not to beat the Broncos.
No. You don't think that Russell Wilson steps it up this season with Sean Payton?
I don't know, man. I feel like
let's ride it to the ground.
With how bad things were, like they don't deserve any like expectations from me.
They don't get the benefit of the doubt. They don't get
exactly no, because I gave them the benefit of the doubt, like through half the season last year, and then at some point I was just like, yeah, no, this team is just a bad team.
No, my favorite thing to watch last year was how many touchdowns compared to bathrooms Wilson has.
And you talk about Sean Payton, like what the hell did the Sean Payton did with the Saints the last few years?
Oh, I forgot you're not a Saints fan.
Exactly. Fuck the Saints. Anyway. They went from mid to mid with Derek Carr. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Don't get me wrong. Derek Carr is a good quarterback when you compare him to like the rest of the dog water quarterbacks in the league, but he's still, in that lower tier of like good quarterbacks.
All right, so Poppy, who do you see where do you see the win column here on the home games?
We're beating the Cardinals. We're beating the Broncos, the Colts, the Titans. We're losing against Jacksonville. We're losing against the Browns. Fuck the Saints. We're beating the Saints. I think we get out of these 9. I'm thinking we can get 5.
5, okay.
Optimistically speaking, we can get 5. Yeah.
Okay, and what about the away?
We're losing that one. We're losing that one. We're definitely losing that one.
Okay, which one? Tell me the name.
That one. Losing that one. I think we get maybe. I think we beat Jacksonville once.
Yeah.
And then we gotta beat Carolina. They took Bryce Young, so we gotta beat Carolina. So if we do the double in the Colts, I'll be actually kind of impressed. I'm gonna say we take 3 out of these away games. So I think we win 8 in total next season.
So you're saying 8 and 9?
Yeah.
Okay, that works. All right, Rios.
I'll be happy with that record.
Okay, let's look at these. Rios, what do you? Sorry, give me 1 second. All right. let's look at the. There it is.
There we go.
Oh, would it be better if I just gave you both?
Yeah, that'd probably be easier.
Okay, cool. That works.
All right. So for home, I actually like our home schedule. It's pretty much all of them going to be pretty winnable games. I think Cleveland probably beats us. Maybe Pittsburgh. That's a toss up. I can see us winning I would say about 7 at home.
7 at home.
Ooh. I think the one we do lose at home is going to be against Cleveland.
Okay.
Now the road, it's a little murkier. Honestly, on the road, probably I could see us beating our division and then probably the Panthers and the Saints.
Okay. So what's your total?
So that's 7, 10, 12.
Jesus
12 and 5.
12 to 5?
12 and 5.
Let's go.
Wow. 12 to 5.
Dude, if that happens, brother, if that happens,
all of you owe me sawgrass.
Yeah.
I'll give you salt and grass. That's about it.
Yeah, salt and grass. Yeah. All right, I'll go on this one, and Tyler, since you're a guest, you'll go at the end. Okay, bud?
Sounds good, bro.
Yeah. All right. So let me see. Home games. I think we beat Pittsburgh. I think we can beat I'm sure we can beat the Saints. So that's 2. We lose against Cleveland. We can beat Tampa. I'm gonna take a win over the Broncos and the Cardinals. I say we can beat the Titans at home. We might not beat the Jaguars at home, and we can beat the Colts. So that's 7 for me for the home games. And away games, I think we can beat. I think we lose to the Bengals. I think we lose to the Jets. I'm gonna take that one. I think we lose to the Jets. I'm gonna take the win against the Falcons, honestly. So that's 8 for me so far. And then we lose against the Ravens. I'm gonna take the L with Carolina. I think, and we lose the rest of these. So I'm gonna go 8 and 9 as well. That's my prediction.
You think we can't beat the Titans or the Colts?
No, we already beaten them once. I think we do go 1 and 1.
Away, I think it's gonna be like different. You know?
Yeah. Tyler, what about you, bud?
Man, as far as the division goes, let me just first say I do not understand the world's infatuation with crowning the Jaguars like the kings of this crappy ass division already.
Right.
It honestly blows my mind because the Jaguars have been the basement of the AFC South, even through some of the crappiest years the Texans have been alive and involved in the AFC South. So I don't understand it. Could the Jaguars win the AFC South? Absolutely. Sure. They're the ones coming in off winning that division, and Trevor Lawrence is a pretty damn good quarterback. I could see it happening, but I don't get the love affair with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just don't. They got a crappy ass color scheme. They got a crappy ass organization. They've lost a lot of games. I'm serious. I've had this conversation with people lately, and it blows my mind. I'm like, it's the Jaguars. Like it's the team that when the Texans were going through some of these crap years here in the last 5 or 6, they were still in the basement somehow. Yeah. But that being said, I don't know how the division of home and away will shake out, but I like to think it's going to be a split with the Titans, depending on what they do at quarterback. It'll be a split. Most likely with the Jaguars. I think they can sweep the Colts this year. I'm not an Anthony Richardson believer. I think he's an athletic freak, but I don't think that's going to pan out. And then they're sitting there trying to figure out what to do. So
yeah,
that takes care of the division. Home games other than that, I think, yes, you beat the Broncos. You can beat the Buccaneers. You sure as hell better beat the dysfunctional ass Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, fucking better, bro.
Dude, they may have caught the dysfunction we had here in Houston.
Otherwise, just refund everybody in the stadium if you can.
Yeah, if you can't beat the Cardinals, what are we doing, guys? What's the whole point?
Yeah.
Well, probably that week they're going to release a new Call of Duty map, so we won't see Kyler.
That's good. Well, as long as whiny ass, crybaby ass Kyler Murray's quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, I think you can get them beat.
Yeah.
Because who knows if he'll even be healthy. And then on the away side, man, I think you beat the Panthers, and then we already covered the division. So in total, I think I got 7 wins for the Texans this upcoming season.
Okay. So okay. I see that. 7 out of
What
10.
would you say is your more anticipated game out of all of these?
Yeah.
Most anticipated?
Yeah. Because we don't have the Cowboys this year, so it's like,
Yeah.
what am I looking forward to, right?
It will be really fun. I mean, I know I've talked a lot about the division, but it's going to be really fun to watch these first matchups between these new young quarterbacks with the Colts with Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud here in Houston.
Mhm.
And then depending on what the Titans do, I know Will Levis is in Tennessee now. It's terrifying.
Oh, that man loves his mayo and his coffee.
Yeah, that was a stupid ass draft pick if you ask me, but that's Tennessee for you.
Yep.
I mean,
But-
second round, not too bad, I don't think.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think Will Levis will be out of the league in the next 2 years. But that's
XFL
my
MVP.
XFL MVP.
XFL MVP. I'm calling it now.
That's good. But yeah, I think 7 wins is good.
7.
And my most anticipated is the rookie quarterback matchups that we might get to see, hopefully get to see.
Same. Yeah, I'm hoping for that one as well. So far I got Poppy at 8-9, Rios 12-5. You optimistic person, you. I'm at 8-9. I think the only difference between me and Poppy is some of the teams that they're going off against. And Tyler says 7-10. So it almost feels like we kind of know what our expectation is. Obviously, dude, if they would somehow, like you said about the Jaguars, because I think everybody expects the Jaguars to win the division, because the Titans, they have nothing. They have nothing going for them right now. Then the Colts, that's a whole mess right now, and it's honestly between the Texans and the Jaguars. So if the Jaguars somehow like just become the Jaguars again, I think there's a possibility, like Rios says,
Right.
that Rios is claiming a wild card, right? Rios, is that
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't see us winning the game, but we're getting there at least.
Yeah.
go.
So one can only hope that the Jaguars can Jaguar again.
So with Jacksonville, I feel like Jacksonville is that it's one of my anticipated games just because last year we had a really, I would say, competitive matchup against them, and then they blew us out of the water on the next one, right?
Yeah, we were there live to see it. I'm like, oh god.
Exactly. And then they went and took the Chiefs to like really 4 good quarters.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I feel like Trevor Lawrence was the key factor there, which, like as much as we rooting for CJ, there's no way for us to know if he's at that level yet. But
absolutely.
As far as them winning the division, if I had to put money on somebody winning the division, would be Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But I feel like we are there for like doesn't mean that we can't take it away from them. I feel in the division we are the closest to them.
Yeah, like I know I did kind of shit on the Jaguars a second ago.
Rightfully so. They are.
But I'm not
franchise.
like if they win this division. If you were to tell me right now today, like they end up. I looked in my crystal ball and they won the AFC South in 2020. Like that wouldn't shock me. But the fact that I see so many people like these big national media guys and stuff like just acting like it's like, oh, it's over and done with. Like, yeah, we'll see Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs. It's division. Like, I don't get that because it's the Jaguars. Like they find a way.
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, Jaguars going to Jaguar sometimes. They find a way. They find a way to mess it up.
So do we, man. So
they're going to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. The Jaguar way.
Yeah. All right. So the last thing about the Texans that I wanted to talk about, Tyler, is I was in one of these spaces that they do on Twitter, and this was like before we knew that CJ was going to be our quarterback. It was in the race between both of them, and I got to ask John McClain a question. He was in one of those spaces. I asked John McClain. Yeah, it was random too. I was like, what? I'm gonna ask him. And so I asked him. I was like, hey. I didn't say hey, but I was like, hey, do you believe that? It's like, hey, bro. No. I was like, what's up, bro? No. I asked them, if we get one of these quarterbacks, do you potentially see either one of them being a week 1 starter? And his reply was, yes, definitely. You don't just go off and grab somebody the second round and, kind of sit him on the bench. And then he then used the example of when we had Deshaun Watson and Tom Savage, when Tom Savage started over Watson for like half the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I was also there.
And then after that, it was all Deshaun, right?
Yep.
So that's what the general said. So I'm inclined to agree. I think he's a week 1 starter. I don't see Davis taking over him, and I don't see Keenum, taking the reins from CJ, and all these things that you keep hearing on Twitter. How clearly Laramie Tunsil's like really infatuated with him, and so it looks like he's getting a lot of high praise for leadership skills and just being able to recover after a mistake or making up for it or whatnot. So it seems like he's a leader. It seems like he's earned the respect of like the locker room. I see him as a coaching staff. So I see him as a week 1 starter. What do you think, Tyler? Do you see him as that, or no?
Absolutely, dude. 100%. I do. And as far as if he will be starting week 1, I think my initial answer, my knee-jerk answer would be yes, but I can't, dude. I don't know. I don't know, because if I'm being honest about things we've been seeing out at Texans practice, I don't know if maybe it's the pressure or the competition and it's just bringing the best out of him, but Davis Mills has not looked bad thus far. They haven't put pads on, so it might not mean shit, but Davis Mills out at practice, I mean, he's making some throws. I remember we were out there last week or a couple weeks ago. Me and Clint were watching some red zone drills that Davis Mills was doing. And I mean, he threw a couple that were pinpointed in the corner of the end zone to his target, like between defenders, and Clint just kind of looked at each other like, where's that been? But again, all that can mean nothing. No pads, it's practice. But I hope to God it's CJ Stroud week 1, because you just got to start getting the reps, man. Like there's no other way to it. Like we've seen it over and over again. Whether they pan out or not is one thing, but you got to get the reps. As long as you have an offensive line that can not get your quarterback killed, give him the reps, let him learn through it, let him make mistakes. D'Amico's already vocalized, like young quarterbacks like this, like CJ Stroud, like you got to expect mistakes. Interceptions are going to happen.
Right.
And whenever they do, we're going to bring him to the sideline. We'll talk about it. And you got to have amnesia after that. Like you got to move forward. And that's all there is to do, man, because if it's not CJ Stroud, if he isn't your franchise quarterback that you drafted this past year, then you got to start trying to find it again. That's all there's. And Texans fans know this better than anybody. Like we've spent our whole lives as Texans fans searching for a franchise quarterback, only to find one in Deshaun Watson for him to be here a few years, make some questionable decisions and do some weird stuff, and now he's gone. Like we got a franchise quarterback for this blip of a moment in Texans history. Right. We got to taste that a little bit and what it feels like to have that hope of a franchise quarterback, and then it was ripped away, and now we're like, man, kind of would be nice to get that back and hold on to it this time.
I still think if we beat the Chiefs that game in the playoffs, I think we win the Super Bowl that year. I still think so. I believe it. Every fiber of my being.
24-0, bro. Can I ask y'all something?
Yeah, go ahead.
If CJ Stroud, how do I want to phrase this? Like, do y'all what's y'all's philosophy over? Like, are y'all on board with starting in week 1? Do you want him to kind of take his time like Mahomes did? Like, because the argument I get pushback from is Pat Mahomes, right? Well, he didn't start right away, and he learned and he sat, and so I just.
My question is, who the fuck is he learning from? From Mills?
Right?
Like who the fuck? Like who's he learning from?
Yeah. Well, like Mahomes he was still a project coming out of Texas Tech. I think CJ's a much more refined quarterback coming. He's more pro ready than Mahomes was, because Mahomes came from the air raid offense. Ended up looking good in the air raid. He's coming from a more pro style offense. So it's going to be still a bit of a transition from college to the pros, but I think he's more NFL ready than Mahomes was, because air raid offense. Keenum looked like a Bo Jackson out of Tecmo Bowl, unstoppable in the air raid offense.
Yeah. Do y'all put any stock in the whole like test? Y'all know about his that
S2 test,
cognition test. Yeah. What y'all? What do you feel?
Yeah.
I don't care about his taking abilities. As long as
I love the memes.
Score touchdowns.
The memes are funny though. The memes are funny. I gotta admit.
Aaron Rodgers has been on acid for half his career. Right? He's been league MVP like
4 times.
He's won the Super Bowl like
in the dark, bro.
Okay.
Just expanding his mind.
So y'all, I always bring this up whenever he brings up Aaron Rodgers on that. Like y'all remember that Sunday night game? He got injured. I can't remember. It was like a knee injury. It was a while back. And they take him out. They take him out to the locker room, and he comes back with eyes bloodshot red, and then he comes. Remember, the guy's from California, right? And so he comes
Just
back
like
and
you.
does his. Yeah, shut up. And he comes back from your band. No, anyway, so he comes back out and does an interview. Suddenly, he developed a country accent that I'd never heard of before. Like Aaron, Aaron, how did you feel coming back from that? I'll tell you what, that was one of the greatest things I've ever experienced in my life. I was like, Aaron Rodgers.
I'm telling you, I don't give a damn if CJ like got straight Fs through all of his school career.
I don't care.
If you could throw the damn football and like don't do weird
games.
shit, don't do weird shit like to like masseuses or whatever. We're good, man. We're good. You have my full support.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I don't think that I'm not a pro or anywhere near it, but I don't know if that test means anything, and I don't think it does. But as long as, like Poppy said, as long as he's able to throw the ball accurately, win us games, be consistent, or even go above and beyond that, like I'm happy with that. I'm thinking this is the quarterback of the future. I was talking with one of our friends at Let's Talk Sports Network, Dan the man. He's a Jets fan for some reason, and so he used the Sam Darnold example. They kind of just gave it to him, and he didn't really have much competition. And here, at least, you're seeing CJ. I know that it sounds weird to people. He's competing against Davis Mills, but like you've said now,
Davis Mills scored good in the test, and he's been ass.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
no.
like Tyler said, though, he's been making throws. Yes, it's without pads right now, so we'll see how it goes. As time goes on, but he's getting some competition. So it's not like they're handing it to him. It's like, hey, you're earning your way over there. And Rios, you told me when we had these conversations, you mentioned, hey, this whole life he's been kind of dealing with earning his way and a lot of adversity. So this is probably what adversity builds character. Exactly.
And like if CJ, right, the first few games, let's say the first 3-4 games, he struggles a lot, and D'Amico feels the need. Maybe let's throw Mills in there for a game. Give CJ a rest. Mills starts to perform, and we want to move with him moving forward. Or whatever. I mean, I'm fine with that as long as Mills, because I feel like the lack of competition last year, it like didn't help Mills at all. Like he was having a horrible game, and then he doesn't have anything to worry about. He's playing next Sunday regardless.
He still got benched for.
He did, right?
A couple times.
You had Jeff Driscoll, who can't tell left from right,
but this time
the wild Jeff.
But this time you got CJ on the bench, right?
And Jeff Allen
in this scenario. So
no, Kyle Allen. Excuse me, Kyle Allen.
Yeah.
I feel like CJ like should be a week 1 starter, 100%. As long as he doesn't get killed by the shaky O line we still got.
So let's say that like CJ is week 1 starter, and let's say, God forbid, he like bombs. Would you rather have a full bomb season with CJ, or would you?
Yes.
And then maybe and then just develop his abilities as he goes.
Get
just kind of trial and error, kind of throw him into
get a high
Wolves
pick next year. Get another quarterback. Hell yeah.
Well, we don't
have that high pick, sir. We traded
Arizona's.
Fuck Arizona, man. They're probably gonna trade it for a bag of chips.
I think the reason they gave their pick instead of Cleveland's pick because they expect to have better in Cleveland. I can totally see that. I like the
Cleveland
confidence.
is up in the air. Cleveland, I feel like they can either
it's
bad Cleveland. Or
the factory of sadness for the last half century.
That's fair.
All right, so. There's that. So Tyler, you said you'd be okay with that if
man. Yeah, because I do think that the roster right now for Caserio and the Texans I think it is improved from last season. I think Caserio's honestly improved the roster every year he's been here to whatever degree. But I don't think the roster outside of quarterback right now is still good enough to where you could, things are going wrong. Let's get the experienced veteran Case Keenum in there. I don't think the roster is good enough to where he'd be able to lead like a team to a wild card game or anything like that.
Okay. Understandable.
So just lose, baby.
Lose it. Rios, I forgot it's almost like it's way past halftime. You got your beer ready?
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
You ask him if he has his beer ready, like motherfucker. I think he is.
All right, you ready, Rios?
Yes.
All right. Enlighten us, sir.
So, in lieu of our Rockets' recent success in Summer League, with the Clutch City Lager. So I was there when they premiered it a couple of years ago. It's a good stadium beer, man. Like you're at the game, it's real easy to drink, real smooth. Plus, I love the logo, man. Just the Rockets should make this their full-time logo. They need to bring it
They
back.
should bring it back, dude. They need to.
Bring back the ketchup and mustard jerseys.
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm kind of tired of the Rocket R thing.
Please change it back.
On.
Change it back. Change it back to this. If you guys are watching, change it back to this. The fans and the players would love that because that's.
I love how you say like you were there with when they premiered that beer, bro. You were there when beer was invented.
Right? I was there helping to make the hops and all that stuff.
Rios. So what was the Prohibition era like?
It was real tough, man.
So Tyler, we rib on Rios because he's the oldest one out of all of us.
How old do you think he is?
Yeah, seriously. By looking at how old do you think he is?
And if you say 42, you would be right.
I'm gonna go with 42 then, Poppy.
I'm 39.
Poppy might be hating on you a bit.
39.
Oh, man, you look good, dude. Don't let him hate on you.
39,
39, but
ago.
he's an old 39.
How old are you two fellas?
I'm 34.
34 going on the 106.
Look at grandpa over here, bro. You're an old 34 for sure.
Yeah, I am.
I'm 28.
Poppy's 28.
28, okay.
Yeah, I'm the baby of the group.
Mm.
Loser. No. All right. So
you're
the loser too. Yeah. All right. So now, I feel like we reached our point with the Texans. Let's talk a little Astros right now because we trying to cut it within the hour, but we'll see. So right now I've seen, we were lucky enough to hang out with the Locked On Astros podcast crew, most downloaded Astros podcast, and in Houston or whatnot. Actually, nationally, from what he says. So, and we believe him. No, so honestly,
we don't
whatever he says
at all.
we don't fact check. I believe him. No, but I was on their podcast on Friday. We were doing a live show with her at Hooters in Pearland, and so it was a great time. And we talked about some of the issues with the Astros going on. So as a trade deadline approaches, what do you think are some moves that the Astros definitely need to make, Tyler?
Man, priority number one for me is, I know a lot of people are freaking out right now, especially with recency bias of the last few games we saw where the bats disappeared at Minute Maid Park.
Right.
And I'm not saying the offense hasn't been bad in this first half for the Astros, but that's not my big worry right now. I think the Astros can get healthy and the bats can be just fine. My biggest priority and what I think Dana Brown and the Astros need to be doing is what we've seen Jim Crane and the Astros do here recently in other years. And that is, you got to go get a starting pitcher.
Yep.
I think that's where it's at, and I hope they do it. We've seen them do it before. We've seen them go get a Greinke, a Verlander. I know they brought in Garrett Cole. That wasn't in season, but that was still via trade. So, we know Crane's willing, but to me, you got to go get starting pitching because not only did you obviously lose Verlander to New York heading into this season, but since the start, a plethora of injuries, and I'm not even mentioning the batters who have been injured, the players in the field that have been injured, but Luis Garcia gone for the year. You lose Urquidy, who's been gone forever, hopefully on his way back. McCullers Jr. gone for the year. He's got Christian Javier isn't hurt, but he's playing very, very badly. So,
yeah, it's like that confidence is lacking on Javier, man. I'm looking at his ERA right now is through the roof, and I'm just like, dude, what happened to you?
Velocity, the command,
fastball.
It's all gone. It's all.
The worst thing is that if you're in a close game, right? Maybe Javier had a bad day. You're in a close game, and then you put Montero on. You're giving up that lead. You're giving up the lead immediately. So it's like
Montero gives me a migraine, man.
I know, man. He was
so
clutch last year. He was so lights out last year. I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh, he was, yeah, no doubt. But Bagwell paid him, and all of a sudden that dude turned to crap. But no,
I know
it's starting pitching for me, man.
Yeah. But the thing about, because the rest of the league knows that that's what we're lacking right now. Because like you said, the bats will pick back up eventually. Altuve and Jordan will come back to the lineup eventually.
Mhm.
Come the postseason, they're going to be hot, just like they've been in years past.
Mhm.
The league knows that we need starting pitchers, so they're going to be looking for prospects.
Yep.
And obviously, we're not going to give them Hunter Brown because we need pitching.
Mhm.
They're looking at Diaz, right?
And
Somebody
the
who
Astros farm
has
system
been.
is not in the best spot.
It's really
not.
not, right? So, like any prospect, because any prospect that has been helping us during this time with all the injuries, I want to keep a hold of all of them. Dude.
Mhm.
I feel like
A
Diaz
lot
has
of
been a
them have been a
revelation,
pleasant surprise.
and once
You-
because Machete has been good, he's been clutch, he's been winning us games, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he'll hit 2 home runs back to back, and then he won't hit a baseball for like
You'll get
10
a
games.
single for a month. Yeah.
Yeah,
His next hit's gonna be in August.
His monthly due. It's his monthly due. He just hit it the other day, right? So you won't see him until August. Yeah, it's a
it's like he has to hit a
He's good for
quota,
less than
and
a
it's
month.
like, oh
He has to
shit,
get a
the month's
quota.
up at the end. Yeah, like
yeah. No, and I love
Yo.
I love Maldi. Maldi's great. He gets a lot of hate on Twitter, whatever, but he's great. A lot of people don't understand that he's one of the defensive masterminds out of the Astros. They want to see hits, and when he doesn't produce, people hate on him. And I'm like, you know what? I get it, but you gotta understand the game a little better. He does a lot of things, I guess, behind the scenes, if you
Yes,
will,
dude.
and he contributes a lot to the success of the Astros, especially last season. However, now this season, of course, I feel like he's had more of a down year than last season. I do think that Yainer Diaz does need more playing time. I think that's your
Yeah.
catcher of the future, moving forward at least.
he's been
And then
amazing.
I think this is Maldi's last season. With I think his contract ends this season, if I'm not mistaken.
Believe you're
So
correct.
yeah, and so I think now the Astros, as far as catching is concerned, and he's another at bat too. This guy, I mean, I was at the game where he hit two home runs back that same game.
Yeah.
So
I know, yeah.
like that guy right there, that's to me, that's
That's
once
the future.
he's been working under Maldi as well, so
Yeah.
he's got to
Mhm.
have learned something from him. So I think Yiner is a guy of your future. This is a guy
You don't want to give him up, right? You do not want to give him up, and then
But then, like, what do you do for Baldy? Like, do you keep him as a coach? Does he go somewhere else? I know Verlander's trying to get him over there with the Mets. Like, he's interested in him. So
I mean, if he's gonna get paid over there, let him get paid. But
Yeah.
I feel like Janer Diaz, like you said, has to be the catcher for the future. Hunter Brown, with the rocky last few games that he's had, like what was it his last start? He only pitched like 3 innings, and then he was taken off.
he was taken
Yeah, it
out.
was
Yeah.
rough.
He lost
Yeah.
control. He lost
That was
control.
so rough, man. I don't know if like something was wrong with the balls that day or what, but my guy could not find the zone for shit, man.
Yeah, and you know what the catchers, you got Corey Lee out there too. Like
Yeah.
that's a guy a lot of people in the Astros organization really like. I don't know how he stacks up right now in 2023 with what he's doing and with what's going on with Diaz, but Maldi's good to have this year though, especially Poppy. You were talking about these young pitchers we've seen this year. Who knows if they put some of these good starts together that we have seen from like a Belak, a JP France, those guys. Maldi is really good with the young guys and making them feel comfortable and in calling a game. Sometimes I think that's overhyped with Maldonado, but I do think there's something to that.
There has to be.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Verlander was so fond of him while he was here in Houston. He had Chirinos before, and Chirinos was good, but he wasn't.
He's not Maldi.
Yeah, he's not Maldi. So, the thing is, like, if you do get a starting pitcher, if you go for a starting pitcher this year, who are you going for, and what is that team gonna ask from us? Because there's not a lot. Like, I'll give him McCullers today. I'll drive him all the way. I'll drive him all the way to Milwaukee to get somebody, right? Like, I don't care, but obviously,
What are you gonna say? Get in the back. Get in the back. That's
exactly.
fine.
I feel like any player that I'm willing to trade is either injured or just too good to give up, right? So it's just like, what do you do as the Dana brand and
it's a good
the
point.
organization?
I mean, pitching wins World Series, and we're gonna have to bite the bullet and give some. We don't want to if we want that starting level pitcher because you can't rely on the bullpen.
So you got now, like you have some center fielders now, which is weird to say. You got
I'm loving
Myers.
Chaz.
I know.
Chaz
You
and
got
Myers have
Chaz.
been
You
amazing.
got Chaz and Myers have stepped it up since last season. But you also got Corey Julks. So one of the things that we talked about. So one of the things that we talked about was like, okay, let's say if you get a starting pitcher, you try to be aggressive, get a starting pitcher, you know they're going to ask for either one of those guys. So does Corey Jones give you enough value? Does Jake Myers give you? I think Jake Myers gives you some value, but maybe not enough. And of course, Chas McCormick is going to give you the most value. Do you give up Chas McCormick and stick with either one or
I
two?
don't think
Like,
you
what do
can,
you
man.
do?
And even like
I think
I
it
don't even
depends on
want
the
to give up
pitcher.
jokes. I don't even want to give up jokes because I would hate to see Jordan in the outfield.
What did they talk? What did they ask for a Dubon too? Doobie's been good.
You're talking about the Swiss Army knife of this lineup.
I'm telling you, it's like a
Dubon,
complicated.
you can put Dubon all over that fucking field, and he'll do a job.
You don't want to sell high?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're going to be, if you're going to try to be aggressive, you know that the Astros are probably going to have to give somebody that we like.
Dude, I'll trade Abreu and put Dubon at first.
I hate to say it, Poppy, but I think Chas McCormick's going to get traded.
Oh, you think
so too?
I think so too. Of him to the Yankees.
And here's the thing.
Sorry, dude. I think it's going to happen.
Here's the thing about McCormick, right? Here's the thing about center field in general. Ever since Springer left, that was one of the bigger holes in our like outfield. It was the biggest question mark going into the postseason last year.
No doubt.
And Chas stepped up and answered all of the questions.
And left his imprint.
Exactly. Yeah. He did, dude. Those catches, bro. And he's been making a lot of those catches this year, right? Even after he came back from injury, like he's still like putting up numbers offensively and he's still doing the job defensively. Why would we give that up? Myers has been good, but the thing about Myers, he's not as consistent as McCormick. I feel like the fact that they've been trading places here and there, you'll put Chas like on left field a couple of times. Like I feel like you finally answered the center field question. Why would you want to reopen that door?
You want the short answer? I don't know this for a fact, but there are a lot of rumors that come out of the Astros locker room that straight up Dusty Baker just don't like Chas.
Yeah, I've heard of that too.
Like there's tension between the two.
Yeah.
Honestly, so man, Dusty, we love you, Dusty, but you make some questionable calls.
Like he sticks up for his boy. Like you can tell he sticks up for his boys, but I haven't seen that love for Chas anywhere. So,
yeah, and a few of the execs for the Astros, they really do for whatever reason. And I'm not trying to hate, but they really like Jake Myers. I don't know why.
I like Chas way more.
I like some things from Jake Myers. I'm just saying they seem like infatuated with him, and I'm like, he's all right.
I know. I don't see it either, but I agree. I out of all of them, I think if they're going to be as aggressive as they say they are, I don't see Chas McCormick in the Astros uniform by the end of the season.
No,
because there's a lot of rumors that him going to New York because New York has a plethora of pitchers and they might be looking to make a deal because they need to have a whole center field.
Who are we going to get from them? Who are they willing to part ways with?
Man, they got a number
because it's not like Chas is going to make a difference.
Y'all want quick Garrett Cole back?
Hell no. Representative himself. Get the hell out of here.
That pissed me off. That pissed me off. After the World Series, immediately changes his hat. I'm like, bro, you were just with a team like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
now you represent yourself.
At least to go take a shower first.
At least take a shower.
He's like 90 more. I'm out, guys.
Such a D-bag move.
Yeah, we wouldn't get like, I don't know. I feel like Chas does more for us than
I like Chas better than Jake.
Yeah,
Same.
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I don't think Dusty does.
Yeah, at the end of the day, with those two things, Dusty probably not being his favorite. And again, not confirmed, but we heard. It's and so it just trying to be careful here.
Unofficially.
Unofficial. No. Anyway, so with that being said, like you have two things against you. He's a great performer. He's better than Jake. I'm just gonna go file and say it. We all think we agree. He's better than Jake. He provides more value for a trade.
He has been so clutch, dude.
Yeah. And again, like the organization said, Dana said, we're going to be aggressive. Come on. It just kind of seems like that's what's going to happen.
So let me ask you this, going on that aggressive route. And this is something that me and Rios have been going back and forth.
Oh, I know you're going with this.
Started, right? Okay, Tyler, let me ask you this. Do you see this happening? And if you do, walk me through how we make it happen. Do you think the Astros move in for Otani?
Hell no. Just stop you there.
okay. Because I
don't think it
agree.
happens either.
I don't think it's happening. Neither do I think we should do it.
Yeah, Otani is the freak of nature we've all been witnessing, right? Like we haven't seen a player like him maybe ever. But with him being on the extreme side of that, all the way through anyone that could get a super contract or like a gigantic contract, I just don't think the Astros are going to do anything like that. That's going to have a contract on the books where it's like clearly the majority of your payroll.
Mhm.
They just don't believe in it.
But what if you just get him for just the
even
rest of the
Otani,
season?
man, I'm telling you, that's
What if
my
you just get him? What if you getting for the rest of the season?
A
Just let him
rental,
walk.
like a 3-month rental kind of a thing.
3-month rental. Go all in for the World Series type thing. Because this is what Rios has been pushing. I don't think a rental is worth it, but if it gets you the ring,
I don't think
it wouldn't be a rental because basically Dana's job at this point, convince them, hey, what do you care more about, the bag? You'll be like Mike Trout, 12 years, 0 playoff wins, or take a little bit less money and secure, a couple World Series rings and be young enough to get your next big contract.
Yeah, but he can still get the bag like at a
He goes to the Dodgers. He goes to the Dodgers.
He goes to the Dodgers and be competitive over there.
And he doesn't have to travel far.
And lose to us. So what does that get him?
What happened to Poppy?
I have no idea. I think my camera.
No. This looks better. It looks better,
right?
It feels like a guaranteed Otani's going there, right? You just said the Dodgers.
I'm thinking he goes to the Dodgers.
It feels all guaranteed. So, what all would you give up that brought him in for a rental? That would, because especially if you don't get that third World Series and you did get the rental, that's gonna hurt.
It's gonna set you back years.
Yes,
anything. It's gonna set you back years, both financially and then
say
prospects.
Years, depending on what they have to give up. If it's just a rental, but I think they could probably convince him to stay because again, who doesn't want to play for a dynasty?
You really think they're going to trade Chas? Here you go, have Chas McCormick and 2 prospects come over to Houston.
Yeah, if we move for Otani, it's going to be way more than Chas, and it's going to be like selling the farm, really.
I kept thinking that the Astros, if they were going to trade something, I'm pretty big on Shane Bieber from Cleveland.
You're a believer.
Yeah, I'm a believer.
Yeah. Hey, me too, man. Me too. Mm-hmm. No, I wouldn't hate that. Bieber, I wouldn't mind him taking a look at, I don't know if they deal him, but Dylan Cease with the White Sox.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind taking that because I think that could be a deal that's more affordable as far as what you'd have to give up. I've seen some whispers, and I know there's people talking about Max Scherzer.
I heard about that. I was like,
I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Price for an old fellow with 2 different colored eyes.
It'd be the Verlander Mets kind of deal again. So that does, I don't see that happening. Or DeGrom with the Rangers.
Yeah.
Well, another one I've heard is a Stroman from the Cubs.
Yes, the Cubs. Yeah, that might be the one I've seen the most, which is intriguing. But
and honestly, I don't think anything with the Yankees might happen, or I don't think anything with the Angels, just because we're in the same conference. We're in the same American League. They're not going to want to make it.
They're not going anywhere. They're going to be third. They're fighting with Seattle for third place.
Of course, but still, I don't see it happening. I don't think let's just say with your Otani take, I don't think that the Angels will be like, yeah, let's give them. They're going to have to sell the farm, if anything. Yeah. And then with that's why I see if Otani does choose to go and not follow the Mike Trout way, that's why I see him going to the Dodgers. Number one is right there, so he doesn't really have to do much. And then the Dodgers are a more competitive franchise than the Angels are. I don't like the Dodgers. I hate them, but still.
Yeah, fuck the Dodgers.
Yeah, I hate the Dodgers. What happened to you, dude? Like your microphone and like your.
I don't know. Let me. Maybe I need to come back at.
I'm like you're in a hole.
Right.
He's at he's going to a tunnel right now.
He's in the upside down right now.
Oh man.
Yeah, exactly. He left completely, so he'll probably be back soon.
Anyway,
yeah, but nonetheless, man, yeah, it's crazy to think the Astros are just in a precarious position right now because it's like, what do you do? Like, what do you give up? Because a lot of these pieces that you have were essential to your World Series success just a season ago.
Yeah, facts. But even give it like we're all sitting here, Carlos, like you're asking me what they should do, and we're all in agreement they need to do something and moves need to be made. But dude, how lucky does it feel for them to only be 2 games back? Like that to me is nuts. Like this first half, I would have expected the Astros to be like 5, 6, 7 games back right now.
Yeah, it shows the testament of the Astros have. Like even with all these pieces missing, you're still only like 2 games back. And I hate to give the Rangers like credit. They can get on base. They can
don't give them credit. Fuck them.
No, but it's true. Like if you're going to talk about it, like they can't. I don't like the Rangers. I don't like the Rice uniform knockoff uniform that they got going. They're so ugly. They're so ugly.
Oh, they're bad.
Awful.
So bad. It looks like a high school team got like
beer league team.
So like this season for the Astros, it's reminiscent to me of the Rockets in '95 when they won in '94. Everyone thought they're going to steamroll through the regular season. No, they were a 6 seed. Like they struggled with injuries. They made a big trade at the deadline to actually get back into the playoff because they were outside looking in at that point. So they had to make a move to try to revamp and salvage the regular season, and they went into the 6th seed and knocked off everybody and went back to back.
Let me ask you this: with the All-Star break and everything, I feel like we're at a good point in the season where I can ask this and actually.
Dude, my left ear is killing me right now.
Go kill yourself.
Are you using a potato?
Dude, I don't know
what do the kids say on YouTube? Like, is that a potato?
Because I can hear you guys just fine.
We can barely hear you.
You sound muffled, dude. You sound muffled.
Can you guys hear me right now?
No, that doesn't help.
What?
Okay, I might have to call it then.
You're fine.
But let me ask you guys this before I head out. Who do you guys have winning? Like, if you have to call it right now, who's winning it all? My money would be, just because of how good they've been, I would say the Braves. If I had to put money on somebody other than the Astros, who do you guys got winning it all? And then I'll remove myself so you guys can discuss it.
Easy answer. I'm getting a third one of these next year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Call it now.
I'm still going with the Astros as favorites. Like,
yeah,
it's not just being a homer; it's just being, logical here. These guys are going to come in and get healthier. They're going to get hot at the right time. It just seems like the stars are going to start aligning up again, and I think the Astros get a 3rd World Series.
Yeah, like I mentioned with CJ, adversity builds character, and this team they haven't really got too much adversity until now, and I think it's just going to make them that much stronger come October.
Yeah, and anybody out there that might be listening to this awesome podcast right here, Just Fans Podcast, listening to Carlos and Rios, hear this, because it's not a homer take to say the Astros are winning a 3rd World Series. They're just really damn good at baseball. And just earlier today, y'all may have seen this. Derek Jeter, the beloved Yankee, he said himself literally today at the All-Star festivities that he believes the Houston Astros are still the team to beat in the American League. They're still built for the playoffs, and I'll take that.
Yeah, not a homer take at all. It's just logical. Like they're great at baseball. Come on, all these injuries, and you still are only 2 games behind. Come on now.
Arlington doesn't know what to do.
And the thing is this: we talked about it in Locked On Astros. That what's made the Rangers as successful as they are, made us ahead, is they started off with a strength of schedule. Astros started off with the harder part of it. So now
injuries.
And injuries. So now the gears are shifting. Now they're going to start facing the harder part of the schedule. While the Astros, if you look at this, the rest of this month, there should be a good game. Yeah, and they should be able to blow these teams away. So I honestly believe the Astros are going to win it all again. And again, not a homer take. It's just logical.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Another one.
All right. It's like Thanos. We're inevitable. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, Tyler, it's been great having you on the show, man. I appreciate you. Please, you got to come back again, man.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. That is super fun, and I look forward to the next time we talk, boys.
Oh, for sure. I think let's try to get Seth in there at the same time with you. See how that goes.
Oh Lord, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
It's gonna be Seth talking for an hour.
We love you, Seth. No, but nonetheless, we want to thank, of course, Let's Talk Sports. Follow them up at Let's Talk Sport on YouTube. Excuse me, on Twitter. Also, our friends at Sideline Sport at Sideline Sport One. Please give them a follow on Twitter. And of course, our friends Mitch Kovsky at the Hardcore Sports Network _ over there off of Philadelphia. Thank you so much. And of course, the great Tyler Milner for joining us at T Mill Real Deal. Follow him up. Great stuff. Thank you so much, Tyler, for joining us. Really, Poppy? See, this is what happens when now they're going to be revoked from their they're going to be revoked from their admin login code. Watch. As of now.
You should have put San Antonio's favorite son.
Shut up. All right, y'all. So I'm off to Argentina tomorrow, so that's going to be fun. We'll see if I can do some shows over there. But if not, then of course Poppy and Rios will take the reins. So Tyler, again, thank you. It was a pleasure having you.
Appreciate y'all, man.
I hate this man.
Yes, sir.
I hate him. I hate them all. All right, Tyler, don't go just yet, really quick, unless you have to.
No,
and,
good.
We'll end the show. All right, y'all. Peace.